Great.
Hi,
Hi.
how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I was watching you say all those kind words about me. I need you as my hype man before.
So easy. Well, it's so
I feel the
easy.
same about you. Love what you're doing and such a big fan.
Thank you so much. Well, I mean, I really, I'm such a fan. I love what you're doing. You're just doing such extraordinary things to help our world, and I appreciate it so much. And I love how it's so in alignment with the same things that I'm teaching. I'm not a doctor, I'm a nutritionist and a healer in a different way, but we're just so in alignment and we're in the same tribe. And so it's always such a pleasure to chat with you and to just talk shop with you.
Yeah, let's
About
talk about this stuff
all
too. And
things.
it's a passion of mine to see people
Oh,
that are struggling with health issues overcome them. It's so rewarding.
yeah, no, it's great. And so I just want to make sure, I'm going to ask our audience really quick. Are you guys seeing us both? Is there a little bit of Wi-Fi? Because I'm getting a delay on Will. Will, do you see me okay? Good?
You fine, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, you guys, well, just let me know if, just check in, send hearts, or let us know that you see us both fine. Okay, so well, let's like dive in. I so much to talk to you about with this book. It's just I feel like you like put out a book a year, and you guys, this book just came out and it's already a New York Times bestseller. So first, I have to say congratulations to you. That's amazing.
Hey, man, it's really cool to see. I'm consulting people via webcam 10 hours a day, and that's where I found out. I was in between patients, and I saw all these emails come in as I was logging off of the webcam consult, and I'm like, what the heck? It's so cool that the fact that intuitive fasting is a New York Times bestselling book is so rewarding. From a writing like educator standpoint, I was very honored to see that. Thank you.
Well, it's so well deserved, and all these people who are on right now who don't have the book yet, you guys make sure there it is. Here it is, and you're going to go after this live. I don't think you do it while we're on. You're going to go to Will's account. His handle is right there in the bottom, and you will find where you can buy this book. But it's beyond the book. Will Dr. Cole, as you should be called, is such a wealth of knowledge and information. I know, I'm not so used to call you Will. Okay, great. So we'll stick with Will. So you have all these incredible books already, and I know that some people here already have those books because some of them are already fans, and someone just said, I got mine. Thank you, Karina. I want to see more of these comments as you order them while we're on here. Like, let us know if you already have it, and let us know if you're ordering it. But Will, talk to us about how this one is just a little bit different, than your other books, than Ketotarian, obviously, and the inflammation spectrum. I know you kind of pull in everything, but I love your approach with intuitive fasting. Just even the title, I was like, oh, that's brilliant. That's exactly what it is that we're designed to do. So
yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's a completely different sense of I'm able to dig deep into the science around flexible intermittent fasting. And it's such I wrote it with so much love and grace and compassion towards people that are struggling with health issues. It's born out of my clinical experience. So it's, as its name implies, it's an intuitive approach to fasting. It's flexible. It's not punitive. It's not restrictive. It's not obsessive. It's not orthorexic. It is just a balanced, measured approach on how I think that people can find a rhythm to their body and a rootedness to know there's a time to eat and a time to break from eating. And as you gain metabolic flexibility, you're going to feel great doing both because it's going to be born out of a deep discernment on what your body loves and what your body doesn't love. And we're all different. And that's what I'm also exploring in the book is this bio-individuality, which such as an aspect of functional medicine and a major aspect of health and wellness. We're all created differently. So this a really exciting thing for me. And it is Ketotarian is the name of my first book, like you mentioned. So I talk about Ketotarian in intuitive fasting because Ketotarian is a mostly plant-based ketogenic way of eating. So that does mimic a lot of the same benefits of fasting. So I wanted to have a deeper conversation about fasting, doing it in a clean way. It's not disordered eating disguised as a wellness practice. It's not restrictive at all, but it's really about loving your body enough to feel great, and you end up in control of food and use food because it's delicious, and you use it to feed your body, and food's not in control of you. And when you have your blood sugar balanced, when you have inflammation levels lower, when you have satiety signals optimized, you have this sort of resolute awareness and intuition on what your body loves and needs. So I see that with my patients, and I wanted to put this for people that maybe won't be my patients, but can have this amazing information in functional medicine and nutrition for themselves, because it's our birthright. We should have agency for our health and not be bound by the next craving or feeling like we're out of control or our body's rejecting us and that food is our enemy. I don't want people to feel like that. And and this book is a path to have what I call in the book food peace. I want them to have fun. That's what we're calling this session.
Yes,
food peace.
Yes, and I love that. It's so important. I love how you really focus on that bio-individuality, because what I've been doing is personalized nutrition for so long before that was even a coined term, and it's so important to honor that for each one of us, to honor that about ourselves, and the fact that you've created this guideline, this framework is so important, because you're right, not everybody can come and talk to you or have a session, and really kind of making it so easy to follow is such a gift, you talked about metabolic inflexibility, and I want you to kind of break it down and explain it to those people who are on here who don't know what that means, to just really put it in lay terms so they can understand how that applies to their health.
Sure. So metabolic flexibility is the ability to burn both fat and burn sugar. Most people are metabolically inflexible or metabolically rigid. So that's like being stuck in the sugar burning mode. When we're born as babies, we're all actually very metabolically flexible, and we're producing something called ketones for proper baby brain development. And then we use we lose that birthright and that flexibility over time, because researchers are exploring this sort of epigenetic mismatch. This genetics, our DNA, and the world around us, epigenetics. So it's estimated that the majority, almost 99% of our genetics, haven't changed in 10,000 years, yet changed very dramatically in a very short period of time. So when you're looking at the context of the totality of human history, the way we're eating, the way we're living, the way we're doing our life, there's this genetic epigenetic mismatch, this chasm between us and the world around us. So modernity has amazing advantages. We're talking to people around the world right now. That's an amazing thing. But the way that we live our life so unfettered and out of alignment with what we've evolved with as a species is creating a whole host of problems. One of the things is chronic inflammation and metabolic. So chronic inflammation is this commonality between just about every health problem, and metabolic syndrome and metabolic inflexibility or rigidity is part of that. So many people are angry, and that's hungry and angry is evil spawn. And then there's
hangry
and fatigue and insatiable cravings and digestive problems and blood sugar problems and weight loss resistance. That is the majority of the human race right now. Just because it's common doesn't necessarily mean it's normal. And many people think just because it's their everyday, they should settle for it. But the reality, these things are largely overcomable and improvable and supportable and healable things. So if we can do that, why would we settle for anything less? So it's actually encoded in our DNA, because we would have evolved with this over time, that humans would have spent times in ketosis. So we can leverage the best of ancestral health. We can leverage the best of human physiology in a measured, flexible, not extreme way. So intermittent fasting and eating in a clean ketotarian way of eating is a way to train your metabolism to be more flexible. So it's allowing your body to it's almost like this proverbial yoga class for your metabolism, is how I explain it in the book, is that when I'm not good at yoga, so when I go to yoga and my muscles are not very flexible, and it's unnatural, right? It's not easy for me because it's new. It doesn't mean that yoga isn't for me. It doesn't mean that wow, there's something wrong with yoga and I shouldn't do it. No, I'm inflexible and I need to get better at it. And that's what metabolisms are. They're so inflexible metabolically that they're always thinking about that next snack and the next craving, and they're kind of bound by that blood sugar roller coaster. Right. So by showing, and I put together a 4-week protocol in the book where they can ebb and flow and vacillate through these fasting and eating windows to start to train their metabolism to be more flexible, to burn fat for fuel and sugar for fuel. Both are important, but we've lost the ability to be flexible.
Right. No, and thank you for that explanation, because that is something that popped up as when I post things in advance to what questions you have. That was a question that popped up a few times, like, what does that even mean? So that was such a concise, really simple to understand breakdown of it. So thank you for that. And just to jump back into the audience, thank you for those of you who said you just ordered it. You ordered it last week. You have it. You just ordered. I saw at least 5 or 6 people that said order now and just order it. So thank you for that. And thank you for that support for Will, and it's support for yourself and your family, because that's what this book will do for you. So, Will, we're talking about fasting, right? And the health benefits, but what are the benefits beyond weight loss? I know it, but I'd love for you to share with everybody, for the people that don't really know what fasting does to you beyond just losing weight.
So it's way more than weight loss, honestly. And there are many people that in the fasting community and in the wellness community that don't have to lose weight. That's not why they're doing.
I mean, I fast, and
right. Exactly. And many of my patients that are normal weight to underweight, they're actually fasting for many health purposes, and they're not losing weight from it, because it's not about caloric restriction. And that's what many conflate. They think it's about restriction or disordered eating or calorie restriction. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a very specific type of intermittent fasting called time restricted eating. So you're eating good calories, you're eating delicious foods, you're just eating in very specific windows. That's all. Yeah. It's allowing us to really get a lot of and leverage the amazing health benefits of fasting without doing extreme fasts that are difficult and not for everybody, right? Mm-hmm. Fasts are important for specific therapeutic benefits, for specific people with health crises, and they're working with their doctor or a fasting expert. That's not what I'm talking about in intuitive fasting. I'm talking about accessible lifestyle tool to use in your life, no matter who you are. So what I'm exploring with is supporting this fourth macronutrient, is what the researchers refer to as ketosis. So we have fats, carbs, and ketones. So when you're fasting, you're going to be in gentle, natural levels of nutritional ketosis for a time, and then you go back out of it. So it's a cyclical, rhythmic healer that Paracelsus, one of the fathers of modern medicine, he was known as the father of toxicology. He was called the Martin Luther of medicine because he was reforming medicine. He called fasting the physician within, which I think is a really putting it, right? Yeah. It's like you science of all this, and it's really is science is substantiating what Paracelsus said in the late 1400s or early 1500s in Switzerland, that science catching up with antiquity, that now we have the randomized controlled trials. Now we have the scientific literature looking and exploring the amazing far-reaching health benefits of flexible fasting. So one of the things, because it's when you're producing some of the beta-hydroxybutyrate naturally, your body makes this. It is a epigenetic modulator or a signaling molecule to really do amazing, wonderful things for your health. One of the things that passes through your blood-brain barrier and provides your brain clean fuel. So anybody that's out there struggling with fatigue or brain fog or even things like anxiety and depression, there's studies that show that it helps to attenuate and calm neuroinflammation or brain inflammation. So it's an inflammatory, not just for the brain, but systemically. There's studies for pain, chronic inflammatory issues in the gut, helps to lower inflammation naturally, and it upregulates pro-antioxidant pathways like healing, restorative, rejuvenative pathways like the NRF2 pathway, the AMPK pathway, and we increase mitochondrial biogenesis, actually making stronger, more resilient mitochondria, which we need for energy and cellular repair. We are able to reset the gut microbiome. So all the trillions of bacteria in our gut, so if you're dealing with digestive problems, bloating, IBS issues, or autoimmune problems, the fasting's been shown to actually reset this circadian rhythm, this wave-like, where certain colonies of bacteria are higher in the evening, some are higher in the morning, and fasting resets that. And that's 75% of our immune system. So when you're dealing with issues or autoimmune inflammatory problems, we can reset the gut microbiome. So, I mean, that's just some of the benefits. There's so many benefits, and none of that has to do with fat loss. None of it.
Right.
I mean, just health. That's all.
Yes, and I'm so glad you pointed me out. I've talked about it here, and I've had definitely some other doctors talk about fasting, but it's just such a good reminder that it's so much more than just weight loss, when it comes to fasting. And there are quite a few questions that came in about having devices to measure whether or not you're in ketosis, and what are your thoughts on that? How often do you think it's necessary to measure? What if you could share that?
Sure. So in the book, I wanted to just keep it simple. So I didn't want super obsessive with this and dogmatic. I don't want people to have to do that. Go off how you check in with your body, and check in with your energy levels. Check in with your mood. Check in with how you're feeling, like your inflammation levels. Check in with your digestion. Check in with your sleep. Check in with all these goals that you have for yourself. And that's why I actually started the book off with a quiz.
Yes, I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the quiz is adapted from questions that I ask patients. So you can take the quiz and then retake the quiz after these 4-week cycles of these fasts and eating. So you'll see your score come down. To me, that's whether you're in ketosis more or less. I'm not so concerned with that. But look, as a functional medicine practitioner, I have patients that really thrive off of the biohacker stuff, and they love the data. It encourages them. And I agree with the fact that the real only definitive gold standard way to know if you're in ketosis or not is to test.
Right.
But so if you want to get super granular and specific, you can test. But I don't want to add to your stress. So if it's too much, keep it simple. I like to keep it simple and go off of how I feel. But I know some really want to know, and especially if they're stuck at a plateau with their health, you may want to test for a time, and then you can stop testing. So the way to do it is a blood meter, it's almost like a blood sugar glucometer meter, but it is a ketone meter, like something like Keto Mojo is a type of a ketone meter. Yeah. And then there's breath meters too, like the Ketonics and other ketone breath meters. The urine ketone strips are fine for a while, but over time, you're not going to be peeing out so many ketones. And that's a good thing. You want to be burning ketones, not to be peeing them out. You want to be using them for fuel. That's your energy level. So it's the fourth macronutrient. So totally fine if it encourages you, if you want to know for sure. And there are certain cases that need to test ketones for specific health medical reasons. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about more of I want to enhance how I feel. I want to improve my health. And at that point, testing can be optional.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm so glad you pointed that out, because I agree with you. I'll test, to see if I'm in ketosis once in a while, especially if I'm trying out a specific fast, if I'm creating one for somebody with specific needs. But very much in accordance with your book and what you're teaching here is to just keep it really simple, connect with your intuition, connect to what your body is telling you. There was someone on here that had posted a comment about how they feel like food is almost their enemy because everything causes inflammation. Well, first, I would say if you don't have Dr. Will Cole's inflammation spectrum, you need to get that right away, and you need to get this book, because in this book, it shows you how that food doesn't have to be your enemy, because we're here to talk about how you're finding food peace, right? Well, so that's a huge component of this, and if you could just share, what you're sharing in this book about connecting with that and finding peace in food, I would love for you to dive into that.
So when someone is metabolically inflexible or metabolically rigid, dieting and eating, foods can be oftentimes your enemy, because you may feel out of control because of cravings. You may feel foods make you feel horrible, and foods can make people feel horrible because it's raising inflammation, it's disrupting their microbiome, it's impacting their hormones like insulin and leptin and their thyroid hormones and their blood sugar negatively. So yeah, that's a very much a dysfunctional relationship with food and a dysfunctional relationship with your body. But when you calming inflammation levels down, when you start balancing your blood sugar and getting a stability there, when you start allowing everything in your body to tap into that physician within, like we talked about with Paracelsus calling fasting, there is this centeredness. Just like when you're really good at yoga, if someone's really good at yoga, they get flexible, but they also have this and they have this and they have this confidence in their body where they don't need somebody telling them what's good or what's bad for them. They don't need to hear people's opinions because they know they're their own N of one experiment. They know what makes me feel great. I want to do more of what makes me feel great. So it's not about, like I posted on Instagram yesterday, and it was a kind of a paraphrase quote from the book, is that ultimately we can eat whatever we want, but we should use meals as a meditation. And if you eat that junk food, and when you feel better, you'll have a couple bites and you'll invariably will feel like, okay, you can use that as a mindfulness tool and say, was this worth it? Maybe it was worth it. Then eat it and eat the couple bites and move on with your life. Don't shame yourself. Shame is worse than any junk food. Or you may eat it and say, this wasn't worth it. I would rather eat great than I missed something that I thought that I missed that makes me feel really lousy. So this isn't about being restrictive and saying, I can't have that. You can eat whatever you want. But it's that we value feeling so great more than we thought we missed something that made us feel bad. So that's what food peace is. It's this like confidence that I know what makes me feel great. I can eat. I can eat until I'm satiated and then let it go. I can go longer without eating, not because I have to bite my go through some hard, arduous, difficult fast. It's like, no, when we're metabolically flexible, we can go longer without eating and we don't even think about food. We can be productive. We can be the best versions of ourselves. And then we check in with our body and we can go right out of that fast and go right back into eating. That's what, someone said, it's about awareness. It's that body awareness. That's what I'm talking about. So when people conflate intuitive fasting or any types of healthy types of intermittent fasting with disordered eating, that's not what this is about at all. It's really a healthy relationship with food.
Yeah, no, and I love that so much, Bill, and that's very much in alignment too with what I teach with culinary alchemy. It's just like really connecting to what is serving you in this moment, and if you want to have something that just feels a little bit more decadent, then honor that, honor that, have that, and don't shame yourself about it, because what we're doing to our bodies physiologically and energetically is a whole nother level of what's actually the nutrients or lack of nutrients in that particular food choice in that moment. So I love that about finding food peace, and I love that about not having shame, because that actually causes so much more disruption.
So I was going to say,
go ahead. Yes.
Is junk food for the soul. You could be eating the best foods in the world. You could be fasting well and flexibly. But if you're serving your body a big slice of stress every day, you're counteracting all the things you're doing. So I maybe want to just speak life into people right now and encourage them and say, you don't have to be filling your life up with shame. Focus on all the things you can have. Focus on all the things that make you feel good. And focus on. And then when you do more of that, it may not make sense overnight because you have to start feeling better. But when you start feeling better, that encourages you. And then you have this beautiful positive snowball effect where you're just like, it's so intuitive. You won't even be thinking about these are the rules and these are the things I can have. It's so innate and intuitive. That's what food peace is about.
Absolutely. And that's beautiful. And you guys really try and take the rules and that perfection out of it. There's someone that said I did an 18-hour fast, and then what I chose to break my fast with wasn't the right thing. That's okay. You're going, and maybe an 18-hour fast might be a little bit too long for you. Maybe you're someone that needs a 16-hour fast, or a 14-hour fast. And Will, in this book you talk about all of that, right? So you know, we already talked about how this is like a flexible 4-week program. Could you just kind of like go through the weeks with everyone so they know, for the people that don't yet have this book, that I think that, you know, you're going to want to get this book. Make sure you go to Will's account that's pinned on the bottom here. Go follow him, and then make sure you go. And this book, it's already a New York Times bestseller, so you can pretty much find it anywhere. But for those of you that don't have the book yet, Will, if you could just walk through the 1 through 4 weeks.
Yeah, sure. So just going back to that yoga analogy for everybody, we start off with that beginner fast or time restricted feeding in the morning. Well, it's a 12-12. It's very simple. And honestly, I think 12-12 is so underappreciated within the fasting community.
Agree.
Good night.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of times people that are so they have a negative connotation about fasting, and they think, well, you should just fast through the night. I agree with you. I agree with you. But a lot of people are eating too late at night, and they're not allowing their body to fast through the night. So you're just doing a 12-12 in week 1, paired with a Ketotarian way of eating, which is delicious. It's like a mostly plant-based, clean ketogenic way of eating. So we have all these pretty pictures and recipes.
Yes.
So there's
gorgeous. And you have over 60 recipes in here, right?
Yeah.
Like
65. So you can go, why are we doing that? It's because you're not fasting your way out of a poor diet. You're eating nutrient-dense, nourishing, healing, filling foods, but in a very good way. And because Ketotarian is higher healthy fats, moderate protein, and lower carbohydrate, you're mimicking a lot of the same benefits of fasting without actually fasting. So you're eating into your goal within a 12-hour period. And then you're fasting through the night until you break the fast at breakfast in the morning. And then week 2 is exactly what you said earlier. It's a 14 to 18 hour fast. So that is, I put the 14 to 18 hour, that's quite a bit of time. So most people are going to find their sweet spot in there. And every day could be a bit different. It's okay. Show up for yourself every day, and it's a new day. And you're a new creation at that day with different things going on. So maybe one day be a 14-hour, meaning it's just a little bit longer than the week 1. And maybe the next day 16, the next day 18. It doesn't have to be a thing. So it's fine. And that's the metabolic recharge fast. We're working on lowering inflammation levels, on decreasing insulin resistance, balancing blood sugar. Week 3 is the cellular renew fast. So it's the deeper autophagy supporting fast, which is the cellular recycling, cellular renewal, sort of the anti-accelerated aging and longevity benefits of fasting. So we're doing that every other day. So it's almost OMAD, 12-12, almost OMAD, 12-12. Not every day. It's very light. You're only doing 2 to 3 of the deeper fasts. And OMAD is an acronym that stands for 1 meal a day. And then week 4, we open back up to 12-12. So you're not doing deep fast for long. You're just dipping in and coming back out, dipping in and coming back, just like yoga class. So we're starting with the easy one, then we're getting into the deeper poses. We're holding that warrior 2 in week 3. And then week 4, it's the shavasana at the end of the class, and we're chilling out. And
I love it. I love the yoga analogy.
My weird brain, as I was writing this book over 2020, I'm like, this is yoga class. This is what it is. So
no, it is, and it's great. You know, it's a great, and I think that's one of my favorite things about the book is that it is so flexible. It's gentle. It really guides you to it, and then you'll get through this and like not even realize that you did this because it wasn't as hard, as you thought it was going to be. And then here now you've sort of retrained your body and your brain about fasting, about resetting, and about how you receive food and how you process food. So no, I love it. And I definitely thank you guys so much. I love all your love for Dr. Will here. I love, more people about the book. Someone else can't wait to start. Someone else is saying they found it so much easier. Yes, I love it.
Used it today.
Oh, yay! I love it. I'm so happy you love it.
I walk around spraying my team.
Well, all of that it's received Reiki. So that aura cleanliness, you feel it.
I'm a super fan of you. I'm a super fan of what you do. So I know I walk around. I asked them first. I said, "You want me to spray you with Serena's aura cleansing mist?" And I spray them. They love it.
I love that. That makes me so happy. No, I thank you so much for sharing that. It really, it really makes my day. Like, it's so magical, and I'm grateful.
One of the most thoughtful, kind, generous people out there. I know the people that follow you know that probably, but I want to really like lift you up and encourage you because you are a light.
Thank you so much, Will. I received that. I received that, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I feel like, we're in the same tribe here, and you say that about me, but I see that about you so much. Just everything that you're doing, you uplift so many people, and what I just love about what you do is that you make it so easily available for everybody and anybody. And that's the most important part, because there are people that are overwhelmed, with there's so many different diets, and there's just so many, and you just make it so doable, and just with so much love. So thank you so much for doing that for the world. Thank you so much for what you said about me. And yes, Kitty Catch, I love that you said that. Support local bookstores. So maybe go out to your bookstore first, see if Dr. Cole's book is there, and if it isn't, then order online, because this is something. There was a question that I almost forgot to ask. People want to know about pregnancy, and how to use this to navigate if they can do it. And I know there's different types of much more restrictive fasting, so to speak, different from what you're offering here. But I would love for you to share your insights about pregnancy and fasting.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously everybody's pregnancy is different, so talk to your doctor if you're okay with it. But generally speaking, we're not doing multiple day fasts. You're eating the same amount of healthy calories every day, so it's not something that's extreme. So it's not something that's a negative thing across the board. Obviously, there's probably specific situations where you would maybe stick with the 12-12, but it's so cool. So most of the protocol everybody can do if that's pregnant. It's you're eating nutrient-dense healing foods. You're being very flexible with it. It's very moderate, but some of the deeper fasts you may not want to do that when you're pregnant. But talk with your doctor; you'll be fine with it. I mean, human body is amazingly powerful, and we don't get enough credit sometimes, especially a strong pregnant woman. We don't give them their bodies enough credit sometimes. And if you feel better, improves your health, discuss with your doctor. It's a positive thing.
Yeah, no, and that's great advice, and that's what just I know that there was a question here today, but I got a couple questions that were DM'd to me and texted me about the pregnancy thing. So absolutely, we need to check with your physician, but especially with the way Will explains how you do this it is intuitive, and it is intuitive, and it doesn't feel like it's a stress on your body, but you do have to go with what your body is telling you. So, so that's really, really important. And Will, I wanted to ask you, this is in every book it's a baby, right? Like, I'm assuming. I don't have any babies. We have fur babies, but so, how does this? You already talked about it kind of in the beginning, but how does this book feel to you? Compared with Ketotarian and the inflammation spectrum. It feels like you're kind of pulling it all together, but I love when people can kind of share that backstory about the book.
Honestly, from a writing standpoint, and I love writing, it's one of my favorite parts of my job is educating people through writing, and I like speaking. But no, this was without a doubt my favorite book to write, and it was a joy. I started it at the end of 2019, and then obviously 2020 was all a year for us. So I had to really focus on my patients first, always, and obviously my family, but consulting people via webcam. We were telehealth, so that our life didn't all clinically. We've been doing telehealth for the past decade. So my webcam telehealth clinic, my functional medicine center stayed the same. So I didn't have to pivot at all professionally. I just saw patients, and then over long weekends or in the evenings, I got to sit really in the springtime and in the summertime last year writing this book. So it was a lot of fun for me. It was very much fun, and I got to pour all my clinical experience on this topic out into the pages, and it was a lot of fun. Out of all my 3 books, this is my favorite one that I got to write.
I love that. That's beautiful. And something that I want to share with you guys is, one of the things that Will is known for is that he really listens. I don't think you have a single patient, or I've ever had a single patient or a consult that doesn't speak so highly of you, because you really are present and you really listen. And I feel like you take all that information, all that data, and you repurpose it, and you put it out there for anyone who doesn't get that visit with you. Anyone who hasn't had a chance to walk through those doors, pre-telemedicine days, but you were doing that for a long time. Just like, and you put all that knowledge and that experience and what you hear, you find these solutions and you put it in your books, and you put it in your blogs, and you put it in the content that you put out. So even beyond this book, you guys, you have to go and follow Dr. Cole. Go to his Instagram account and follow, because all these experiences that he has with his patients, he puts it back out there. And so I just want to say thank you for that as well. I wish every single doctor did this, but they don't. And you're absolutely one of the ones that do.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time out and doing this with me and having this conversation and reaching out. I really appreciate you.
Oh, no, of course. I was so excited when I saw it. I'm like, wait, you have a book coming out? Like, wait, by the way, you guys, Will has a podcast too, a new podcast. Let's talk about that for a second before we jump off, so that we can send a bunch of people to subscribe to that as well.
Yeah, it's called The Art of Being Well. I love it. It's my first solo podcast. I hosted Keto Talk for 3 years, and then I hosted Fellas for a year, and that's on pause for now. But I started The Art of Being Well a few months ago, at the beginning of 2021. And yeah, we've had some great conversations. I can't wait for you to be on it too. So
I can't wait. It'll be so amazing. The Art of Being Well. So first of all, I love the title. And I know that you've already had some great guests. So another thing you guys got to do is go and look up The Art of Being Well and subscribe. I guess that's the real word. Subscribe to Will's podcast, because all the love that he puts into everything else that he does, into the site, the blog, the books, he's now putting out on audio on his podcast. So it's just another great resource.
Thursday. Today was another episode.
Oh, really? So is that when you do it on Thursdays? Is Thursday your release day?
Yeah, Thursday is the release day. So we had Elle McPherson was on, Melissa Urban from Whole30, Dave Asprey, Josh Axe was on. I did a solo podcast. Gwyneth Paltrow was on last week. And this week is Simon Cheng. Do you know Simon?
No, I don't know Simon, actually. Where's he from? Oh, wait, yes, PT. They just sent me an email. I think it was Alyssa that sent me an email just yesterday.
This is so sweet. Yeah, so Simon Cheng, we talk all about the science of tea and fasting with tea and the benefits of tea. He is an aficionado of tea. So that's today's episode.
Oh, I love it. I love people saying that you can't wait to listen, looking it up, can't wait, going to find it. Awesome, you guys. Thank you for that support. And I can't wait to come on. We can talk about whatever you want. We can talk about choreography.
Yeah.
It'll be so fun.
Anytime. We'll get that planned for sure.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay, you guys. Well, one more thing. What?
I have to run to a patient. I'm sorry.
No problem. I was just gonna say thank you guys so much for being on. And well, I know you have to run, but we kind of do these giveaways sometimes during lives. Any chance you want to give away a book?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, awesome. Okay, you guys. So you know the drill. Will's gotta go. Do a quick screenshot. Post it. Tag us. Tag intuitive fasting. Tag all the things, and tag us one thing that you learned from this live today. And then I'll pick a winner. I'll send the information to Will, and you'll get a book.
I'll sign it out to you.
Oh my God, you'll sign it? It's going to be signed too, you guys. Amazing. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Serena.
Well, I know you've got to go. Thank you for being with us today, and then I'll message you later.
Awesome. Talk soon.
Okay. Bye. All right. Bye, guys.